The fourth match day in the Europa League is back again, and you know what that means. Match day 4 predictions. So far in this Europa League campaign, I feel like my predictions have been a little bit on and off. In the first 2 match days, my predictions were pretty shit. But last match day, they were a little bit better and I'm starting to get the hang of things. But hopefully in this match day, I can finally get all my predictions spot on. If I get every single prediction right, I'm giving away $100. There's no way I get them all right, but we're gonna try. If you guys have been enjoying all the recent content on this channel, leave a comment down below and remember to subscribe for future videos. But without further ado, let's get right into these predictions. Starting with the first game, we have Basel against FCSB. Honestly, both of these teams have been struggling so far in this Europa League campaign. Both of them have gotten 1 win and 2 losses from their first 3 matches played. And in this game, I think it really could go either way. I think Basel definitely have the advantage as they're playing at home, but I do think FCSB could definitely pull off an upset. If you look at recent form, I would say FCSB have probably been the more informed team, but with the home advantage, I'm not going to write off Basel. I do think they will be able to win this game 2-1. Moving on to the next match, we have Dinamo Zagreb against Celta Vigo. I think Dinamo Zagreb have been very good so far in this Europa League campaign, but in the last match day, they drew against Malmo, who have been one of the worst teams so far in this Europa League. So that was a very disappointing result for them. But even with that being said, they still are one of the better teams in this Europa League. Currently, they're sitting in 4th place, and in their first 3 matches, they've been scoring a good amount of goals. Now, if we look at Celta Vigo on the other hand, they've been okay so far in this Europa League, especially after their last win against Nice, which was a very good result for them because so far this season, especially in the La Liga, they've been horrible. They've been drawing almost every single game they play. So in this game against Dinamo Zagreb, I just don't see them being able to win. Zagreb have the home advantage, and with that being said, I think they're going to win this game 3-1. The next game we got is FC Midtjylland against Celtic. I've already mentioned it multiple times in recent videos, but I just feel like Celtic have not been as good this season. I feel like especially in their attack, they haven't been able to score as many goals and they don't look as dominant as they usually do in the Scottish Premiership. And that's why currently they sit a decent amount of points behind Hearts. It doesn't look like they're going to win. And in this Europa League, similarly, they haven't really been that good. They have been struggling to score a little bit, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get a result from this game. If we look at FC Midtjylland on the other hand, they currently sit in 1st place. They've been dominating, 3 wins from 3 games, and they've also scored 8 goals in those 3 games. They've been on incredible form in this Europa League, and with the home advantage against Celtic, who you would think may be a tougher opposition, I don't think it's going to be any trouble for them. I'm going to predict FC Midtjylland to win this game 2-0. The next game we got is FC Utrecht against Porto. I gotta say, for how good FC Utrecht were last season, so far this season, they've been shit. In the Eredivisie, they've been horrible. They're losing almost every single game. And in the Europa League, they currently sit in 35th place, having lost 3 out of their first 3 matches. And it's sad for Utrecht because some of these matches in the Europa League, they needed to win. They were against their easier oppositions. And now they have to play Porto. They have to play a couple other difficult teams. And I don't think they're going to be able to make it into the round of 16. So with that being said, this is a must-win game for Porto, and I do think they will be able to beat Utrecht at home. I don't think it's going to be any trouble for them. I'm going to predict a 2-1 win. Moving on to the next game, we have Red Star Belgrade against Lille. Both teams haven't really been that good in recent matches. At the time of recording this video, they both are winless in their last 3. So it's fair to say that they're both on pretty inconsistent form. I do think Lille are the better team, but with the home advantage to Red Star Belgrade, I actually think they're going to be able to get a result from this game. I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw. The next game we got is Malmo against Panathinaikos. Malmo have been horrible so far in this Europa League campaign. They have not been good, but surprisingly, they did get a decent result in the last match day where they ended up drawing against Dinamo Zagreb. On the other hand, Panathinaikos, I think have been okay, but they've definitely been a little bit inconsistent. We've seen them score 6 goals in their first 3 matches, which is pretty good, but they've also conceded 6 goals. So their goal difference is 0. And yes, they've been scoring, but they're also having trouble conceding goals. And for that reason, I got Panathinaikos just winning this game 1-0. The next game we got is Nice against Freiburg. I don't know what it is, but I feel like a lot of teams in this Europa League that normally are very strong teams haven't been having the best season. And Nice are another one of those teams where in the Liga, they currently sit in 8th place. And they've only won half of their games. But if you look at Freiburg, out of their first 9 games in the Bundesliga, they've only won 2. They've been on horrible form. They've only gotten 2 wins out of 9 games a few draws, and also a few losses. And honestly, in this game, I'm not really sure which way it's going to go. I could see Nice pulling off with the win, but Freiburg I could also see getting the upset. Even though they're playing away, I can see it happening, especially with Nice struggling from a few injuries recently. I'm going to predict Freiburg to win this game 1-0. The next match we got is Salzburg against Go Ahead Eagles. Honestly, Salzburg have been trash so far in this Europa League, and every single match day I keep predicting them to get results. I keep saying they're better than this, they're better than this, and they keep losing. That's 3 losses in 3 games for Salzburg. They've been horrible. When on the other hand, Go Ahead Eagles, I think have been a little bit of a surprising team. They've won 2 out of their first 3 games, and in the last match day, they won against Aston Villa, who have been on amazing form recently, and it was a little bit of an unexpected result. Now, obviously, Go Ahead Eagles are much better at home than they are away, and that is where they've been struggling this season, is with their away form. They have not been playing good away, but I just can't see Salzburg getting a win. I keep predicting them to win, and they keep letting me down. So I'm going to go with Go Ahead Eagles to win this game 2-0. The next match we got is Sturm Graz against Nottingham Forest. In the Premier League, Nottingham Forest have been in a world of pain. They have been losing so many matches. We saw them sack Nuno Santos, and then they hired Ange Postecoglou. Then after about 7 matches with no wins, they sacked him, and now they hired Sean Dyche. Now with him, I do think Nottingham Forest definitely look better. We just saw them get a 2-2 draw against Man United, which was a pretty good result for them. And in this game against Sturm Graz, they definitely have more experience. I think they should be able to win this game. The next match we got is Aston Villa against Maccabi Tel Aviv. I find it kind of strange because at the start of the season, Aston Villa went on a horrible run where they were winless in about 6 games and they were on horrible form. But recently, other than their recent loss against Liverpool, they've been incredible in the Premier League. They've been winning almost every single game. And even though they did lose the last game against Go Ahead Eagles, I think they're definitely the better team in this matchup. Maccabi Tel Aviv, I just don't really see them being able to win this game. I'm going to predict a 3-0 win for Aston Villa. The next game we got is Bologna against Brann. I called it in the last match day. I knew Brann were going to be able to beat Rangers, and it surprised a lot of people because Rangers are a very historic institution. They've been an incredible team for many, many years, but this season, they're shit. They are so bad. They're trash, and I don't even know if they're going to be able to win any of these games. But like I said, it was a great result for Brann, and coming into this game against Bologna, even though Bologna do have the home advantage, I think they're going to be confident. I think they're going to come into this game thinking that they can get a result and thinking that they have a good chance to finish in the top 8. But like they say, all good things come to an end, and I don't see Brann being able to win this game. They are suffering from a few injuries, where Bologna, yes, they did draw their last 2 matches. They still are a good team. They're a very good institution, and with the home advantage, I'm going to have to back them. Moving on to the next game, we have Braga against Genk. Honestly, I feel like I've been really underrating Braga. There's been multiple match days in this Europa League campaign where I keep predicting them to lose, and they keep winning. They've won their first 3 out of 3 matches, and currently they sit in 2nd place, and they look like one of the better teams. They look incredible when they play at home. Away from home, they may be a little bit shaky, but when they have the home advantage, they're definitely one of the better teams in this competition. And for that reason, I'm going to predict a 4-2 win for Braga. Moving on to the next game, we have Feyenoord against Ludogorets. Feyenoord have been very good so far in this Europa League, currently sitting in 7th place, and they still haven't lost the game. When on the other hand, Ludogorets don't look that good. They currently sit outside of the top 24. They're in the elimination zone, and this game is going to be very, very crucial for them. But with that being said, Feyenoord have been very good at home. They've been very consistent, very solid at the back, and I don't think they're going to be able to let Ludogorets win this game. I think Feyenoord have this game. I'm going to predict them to win 2-0. The next game we got is PAOK against Young Boys. Now, if you look at PAOK, they have won in their last 5 matches. Obviously, they won their last game in the Europa League, and in the Greek League, they've been very, very good. They've been a very strong team in recent matches, but coming into this game, they're dealing with a lot of injuries. There's a lot of players that may be sidelined for this game, that may not even be able to attend this game. And with that being said, I think Young Boys actually have the advantage. I don't think it's the popular opinion, but in my opinion, I think Young Boys are going to be able to slightly beat PAOK 1-0. The next game we got is Rangers against Roma. Bro, I've already mentioned Rangers, man. They're trash. They've been horrible. And if they can somehow get a result against Roma, that would be incredibly disappointing for Gasperini and his men. They've been a little bit unlucky in some of the games that they played, but in this game, I think they're going to definitely beat Rangers 3-1. The next game we got is Real Betis against Lyon. I think this is a very interesting game. Now, if you look at the table, Lyon currently sit in 3rd place and they've been very, very good, while Real Betis haven't been as good and they currently sit in 16th place. But if you disregard where they stand on the table, I think both of these teams are definitely top 5, top 6 teams in this competition. And with that being said, I'm going to simply predict a 1-1 draw. Moving on to the next game, we have Stuttgart against Feyenoord. For how good Feyenoord have been in the Eredivisie so far this season, in the Europa League, they haven't looked as good. They look like a completely different team, and they've only gotten 1 win from their first 3 matches. And things don't get better for Feyenoord, as in this match, they have a lot of injuries. They are suffering from so many injuries, a lot of players who won't be back till the middle or the end of this month. And I do think that will affect them in this match. And for that reason, I think this is going to be another draw. I'm going to predict 2-2. And finally, the last game is Victoria Pilsen against Fenerbahce. It's crazy to say, but Victoria Pilsen have been one of the better teams so far in this Europa League. They still haven't gotten a single loss from the first 3 games. They've won 2 and they drew 1. And in the last match day, they were incredible against Roma. They were definitely the better team and they deserve that win. It's not going to be easy for them, but I do think they will just be able to beat Fenerbahce. I'm going to say 2-1 win for Victoria Pilsen. And that is the end of my Europa League predictions for the 4th match day in the league phase. If you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But obviously, if you disagree, remember to leave your predictions down below and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. If you've been enjoying these predictions, whether it's for the Europa League or for the Champions League, remember to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.